Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today, finally, we have the 1 year update on the panel test we've got going here with these 4 products. So I never know how YouTube's going to work, if it's going to recommend what random video to people who haven't been watching the series. So I will just quickly go over what this test has been. So 1 year ago, we applied these 4 products to this panel. I polished it, prepped it, everything properly, and then applied the products. You can watch that video if you'd like, if you go back to the very start of the series. And then since then, every month, we've done a wash update. So in between those updates, the panel is sat outside. It's sitting in the sun all day, getting the wind, the rain, all the elements, and it's been a full calendar year now in Queensland, Australia. So it's gotten summer, winter, everything in between. So it's seen the full range of the elements that it has to throw at it. The only difference is it hasn't been on a car driving around. It's just been sitting outside. And then every month I bring it back inside just to do the wash, and then we put it back out again. So yeah, it's been a month since all that happened, or since the application, and there's been a monthly update every time. We did a slickness test sort of halfway to see, because obviously we did a slickness test at the very start, and then we did a slickness test halfway to see if they were still as slick as they were. We found that it's sort of the slickness that you initially get, especially on this Meguiars one, which was the slickest by far, that died off after a few months. So if you're looking for a slick product now, I know, yeah, you can say that's the slickest, but it doesn't last, so you'd need a topper anyway. But yeah, it's been pretty informative finding things out like the slickness and how long these actually last. So let's just go over the 4 products that we have. So they all claim a year's protection except for the Carpro. So this is the Meguiars hybrid paint coating, and easiest to apply by far, very nice product. Claims the 1 year plus protection, and it's looking like, yes, we'll see in a minute whether it's lasted the year, but over the last few months it's been sort of dying off. So if you were doing toppers on this, or if this was a garaged car and on the bonnet, I'm sure it would last if it wasn't a daily driver. You never know what sort of conditions they're putting on their promises for products, the 1 year plus protection. Is that just a car that's garage and driven only on Sundays in nice weather, or is that on a daily driver sitting outside in the elements? So they don't really clarify that. But then we have the Carpro Cquartz Lite. So this is the one that only claims 6 months plus durability, and it well exceeded the 6 months. Now, I don't know if it's going to come through on camera, but I think it does. So you can actually see the square, move that out of the way, where the Carpro is applied. It is darker. It has remained darker than all the other sections. So it's noticeable that that's made a difference to the look of the paint as well. And it, last few months, has been the highest performing product. I can still kind of see, and not on camera because it's not obvious, but I can see where the Gyeon is applied. I can see a slight line. So obviously you can clearly see, I think at least, where the Carpro is. There's a tiny little gap, and then the next product is applied, the Gyeon. So I can still see that. It also looked a little bit different, but it's, yeah, the Carpro is noticeable. But yeah, sorry, that product, I should probably say what it was Gyeon Can Coat Evo. So also claims 12 months durability. And then lastly, we have a little bit different. It's a paste sealant. So people say it's a wax, but they actually call it a sealant themselves, but it's Soft 99 Fusso coat. So yeah, this one, the cheapest by far, and I've had always heard really good things about it, so that's why I thought I'd throw it in this test. Originally this was just going to be light ceramics, but I thought, you know, since that claims 12 months durability, and I originally bought it for my wax test that I did a while ago on the channel, where I tested a bunch of waxes against each other in the same way. I didn't end up using any of that because after buying it and researching, it's actually a sealant. So I thought, you know what, we'll save it for another test, and it worked out well to be in this one. So it is the cheapest, but I found like it sort of started dying off a little bit quicker than the others. What I might do is just get these out of the way so we can start doing our test, because we don't want to get all these boxes wet, especially the cardboard ones. So yeah, what I'm going to do now, and what I've done every month, is give the panel a wash. So I'm using Carpro's Reset. So I've got that set up ready to go. I've got my hose, which is actually slightly leaking, so I need to get onto this pretty quick, wasting all my tank water here. And it seems like I didn't turn the hose on a whole lot, so we don't have a whole lot of power, but it should be fine. So what we're gonna do is just rinse this off first. Might even, since I clearly didn't turn my hose on enough, might change to a different pattern. So I'm gonna give this a strong rinse. And just off that, and it's been slightly over a month since the last wash, and apologies for that. At some point in the test, I've obviously skipped a week, so it's been 5 weeks now. I just wanted to get it to the month since I applied. So I had to check back on my really old photos to see when I first applied these products, not when I first posted the video, because there was a little bit of time in between that. So yeah, this is now the full year. So a little bit over a month since this last wash. So yeah, we're going to wash them down because rinsing does not tell the whole story. We need to really get all that dirt and dust and whatever else off, but just give them all a good chance. As this is the longest ever one of these tests has ever gone before. I usually stop the sealant and wax ones at about 4 months because we usually have a clear winner. But I plan on stopping this at 1 year here, but we'll see how we're looking after I rinse these off. But did have a few people sort of say they'd prefer me to just keep it going, just so they really know how long these products actually last. So already a clear difference between those two, the Carpro and the Gyeon, just from rinsing after the wash. And so yeah, it's not looking great for the Fusso coat. But I'm going to get these all rinsed down, make sure there's no soap residue left. I'm going to come in with the other camera, get in nice and close and see how they're looking one by one. Okay, so we've changed over to the other camera. I want to come in nice and close. So what we like to do here, now that they're washed, try and flood each section. Now, since I seem to have not turned the hose up enough, I'm not getting a crazy amount of pressure, but we'll still be able to flood attempt. So yeah, there's the Meguiars, I should say, because the writing is sort of worn off now where I applied each product. I will explain where each product is, but this is the Meguiars. And it's, so if you look here, let me see if that's in shot. I think it is. So here and down here, there's nothing applied. So that was just polished. No protection was applied at all. So you can see in most of the sections, like up here, there's spots where it's really sticking. And if we do like the finger tap test, which I found really starts the sheeting off and shows whether it's still there or not. So not really. So this whole section here is basically dead. But up in this top corner and here, so it's definitely started to wear away. Did it last for 12 months? I mean, I'd say somewhat, yes. That's still doing something clearly compared to this completely wet section, which the water is not disappearing from at all. It is just sticking around. So clearly it's lasted 12 months. Is it looking fantastic at 12 months mark? No, not really. But we don't know, like I said, the real, like what the claims are in the 12 months. So it lasted 12 months, and for how easy it is to apply, if you can get it cheap, which sometimes you can, I think that's well worth it, that product. I'm still not going to put down the Meguiars at all. But then as we come over to the Carpro section, this is the Carpro Cquartz Lite. You'll see that it is just a totally different level. It's still too hydrophobic to flood. So we cannot flood the entire section. The water starts disappearing as it's hitting. So it's super hydrophobic still. So for a 6-month claim, looking like this at 12 months, very impressive. Now, this product is, I'd say, one of the trickier ones to apply. But was it worth that effort to apply once and get this top performance? Yes, it depends. Maybe you want to go something like the Meguiars, where it's very easy to just reapply, and you like doing this process every 6 to 9 months and recoating your car. Or maybe you just want to go to the effort and polish it and get this product like this applied once and have it last over a year. It's really up to you, but it definitely was worth the extra effort in the trickier application. Now, I have applied both the Meguiars and the Carpro to full cars, like done full reviews on those products on the channel. So I have experience with those. The Gyeon and the Fusso coat, I have not yet done full cars with them. I've only done them on this test. So I know I can talk about how easy or how tricky they can be to apply. When you're doing just a little section like this, and if a product is noticeably tricky to apply even on a small section, you know it's going to be a bit of a nightmare on a full car. You have to be very careful going back over it, making sure you haven't missed any spots, getting even coverage. So anyway, this is the Gyeon now, and as you can see, we are able to completely flood this. It's still, the water sort of disappears as we're doing it, but we weren't able to do that to the Carpro, which you can still kind of see in the shot. Yeah, the Carpro a little bit more hydrophobic than the Gyeon. The Gyeon we're able to completely flood, but as soon as we do, that excess water just runs off rapidly. So still very hydrophobic and 100% still lasting at 12 months. So there also claim of 12-month protection, definitely sticking up, like holding up. Gyeon is, yeah, I'd probably say just off using it this little bit in this test, I'd say it's a little bit easier to apply than the Carpro. And you get a lot of product. You could do a lot of cars with the one bottle. So very happy with that product. And I will eventually do a full video using that on a car. So now we have the Fusso coat, and as you can see, clearly we're able to flood that. So let's see what happens after the water starts to run off. Okay, sort of sticking around, which sometimes it does do, so that's why I like to do this finger tap test, and you usually get it started. So there we go, yeah, we've clearly got a section up there that is pretty hydrophobic still, and once it gets started, sometimes I'll flood it and it'll stay flooded when I find I do these tests, and sometimes it'll just sort of sit there and it'll take quite a bit to get going. That's why I do a little finger tap, because it'll get it started. And you can see it's like the Meguiars. It's got some sections that are hydrophobic still and some that are completely flat and dead. So if we soak that again, I'll see if by itself this time it will start sheeting that water away. And we'll just give that a minute. I want to even now move the camera over to the middle, and we want to zoom out and sort of go over all of them so you guys can see all at once. So we're still not getting that anything from that Fusso coat. So we just tap that there. Sorry about the shaky camera there. So yeah, you can see the Fusso coat sort of on and off. It's clearly the least hydrophobic now, I think. Did it last 12 months? Like the Meguiars, it sort of really died off towards the end. You could easily just use a topper at any point on one of these products and you'd get the 12 months out, but them by themselves, claiming 12 months, I'd say yes and no. They're lasting 12 months, they're clearly still there doing something, but it's not like drastic performance. At this point, normally I would be wanting to strip and redo them because that's a little bit too slow. It's not hydrophobic enough for me. So what we want to do now is just go over all of them. You can see a clear difference between them. So even if you watch as the water, so like we know that the Meguiars and the Soft 99 are really not doing much showing here. If you just look at the middle two, you can sort of see that as the water moves away from the Carpro, it definitely runs off quicker than the Gyeon. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to dry it off and we're going to do a bead test. Basically, I'll just run some beads over it and then we're going to come in nice and close with the other camera and just sort of see as the hose into mist function what they sort of look like. Okay, we've got that dried and yeah, my hose is really running a lot, so we'll try and get this done. Water's going kind of everywhere, but yeah, we're going to mist over. I should about do it. It's probably a little bit too much even. So, swapping over to the other camera. So I'll get this one out of the way. And we'll get the hose again. So yeah, because this misting is just going absolutely everywhere, we kind of went a little bit crazy in some of the sections. But let's just have a look. So the Meguiars, beading up, yes, in sections, but like what I like to call the camo beads. They're not very nice and round. If you compare them to this Carpro section here, they're a lot rounder, nicer, more uniformed. I sort of stuffed up definitely on this Gyeon section here, but you can, let me even, yeah, so if we put even more on the Carpro, you can see the beads start to lose that nice roundness as they get larger. So the Gyeon is looking like that as well, but we will come in closer and show a difference in a second. And then last up, the Soft 99 section, also the camo style beads. They're not nice and round, they're almost just like, basically this is what happens when rain hits your car and you don't have protection. It'll bead up a little bit. And people always try and say like, oh, I prefer sheeting over beading. You put any protection on, if you can literally recommend me a product that you put on and it doesn't bead at the very start, then I'll be happy to do a video on it. But every single product I've tested, at the start, it creates beads. Then as it starts to fail, it becomes more of a sheeting product. So in my mind, products that are sheeting are just basically on their way out. And products that are getting beads like this are also on their way out. Not always, some products aren't as hydrophobic, but they're just, that's what I mean, they're not as hydrophobic. So whatever they start off like is how I judge them. So yeah, if we come in and spray onto this, as we let go, you can see the product, the water does still run off on this Soft 99. So we're just misting that. And while it's not like super hydrophobic, clearly is still hydrophobic enough. So yeah, 12 months it's still definitely doing something. Now for the Gyeon. You can see a bit of a difference there. The water as it hits, it sort of repels. It a little bit like sort of, I don't know how to describe that, but it sort of hangs around. It's not like, to explain it, let me go to the Carpro. You can see the Carpro, the water, as it hits, it's more noticeable that it's instantly disappearing. It still is sticking around a little bit, but that's more hydrophobic, and that's the worst it's looked, obviously. Normally there was not even a split second when you let go of the hose that the water sticks there, because it never really, as it hit the surface, it never really stuck around. Whereas the Carpro, you can see as I'm moving it, it's sort of all sticking there for a second. When I let go of the water, it has that second to sit there before it runs off. Back to the Carpro. So yeah, clear difference between those two now. Not crazy, but if I go like this above, we've got Carpro on the left, Gyeon here on the right. So the Carpro is definitely the more hydrophobic. And last up, the Meguiars. You can see where water's sticking around a fair bit, but it does then sheet off. So comparing that to the Carpro as well. So yeah, that is quite interesting that at 12 months mark, the definitely best looking one at this stage is the Carpro. So that's a 6-month claim. I really like Carpro as a brand. They usually say they'll sell your product, for example, Carpro Pearl. It's plastic, engine, rubber, leather. They're telling you on the back dilutions to use that product to make use of different products. Rather than selling you a plastic dressing, an engine dressing, a leather dressing, and a rubber dressing, they sell you one product and they'll tell you how to dilute it to get the most out of the money. Same with a few of their other products as well. I really like that, and also like that they haven't overpromised on this. Even my Evo outside, that is, I've got 2 of them that are coated in Carpro Cquartz UK 3.0 that claims like 18 months plus durability. I'm at well over 3 years on one of them because it's a garaged car. The other one I'm at over 2 years, which was more of a daily driver. One was a weekender, one's a daily driver, and they both outlasted. But so I feel like they don't make claims that you're going to be disappointed by. If anything, they go the opposite way. So I really like that. The Gyeon also, fantastic product. Both are very affordable too for what you get out of them. Because if you're just buying them to do one car, that's probably going to be the mistake. I don't know how they're going to be shelf life. Now they've obviously been sitting for a year now, so will I reuse them and will I get the same performance? I'm hoping so. But if you were detailing a lot of cars, you've got a few cars to do, you've got some family's cars to do, or you're doing detailing as a business and you buy one of these, either the Carpro or any of these, to be honest, you're going to get a lot of applications out of each product. And for these two, you're going to definitely get a year's of pretty promising protection out of them. And you'll get like 15 minimum, I think, applications out of all of these products. Some of them a lot more. When I did the review on the Carpro and the Meguiars, I did weigh the product before and after, and we know how much the bottle weighs and how much net product is in there. So we know exactly how much you'd use per car and how many cars you get. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I did say that in those videos. So if you're interested to see that, definitely check out those reviews. But so that's where we're at now. We're at the year, and this is where I was going to end it. But clearly, we kind of want to see how far that we can actually get with these. So do we keep doing? Do we keep going? Do we go our next test, our next update at 13 months? Let me know in the comments what you guys would like, because I sort of planned to start a new test after this. Basically, the idea is we've done a bunch of these tests now comparing different products. Each time there's been a winner. So I'd like to put all the best of the best wax, the best sealant, the best sort of like spray on, rinse off product, the best like graphene sealant. So, and then I guess the best out of this test as well, to sort of show the difference. That was the plan for the next series. I'm really keen to start that, but maybe we just need to wait a bit longer and let this one finish out and get to a clear, it's a clear winner in my mind of the Carpro, but do we want to see how long they actually last? That's what I'd like you guys to let me know. I don't want to make the videos go on forever. So if these are the last 2 years, I don't really want to be doing this test for another full year, but yeah, just let me know what you guys would like to see. I can always get another panel. I do have another one anyway, but I could always start the other test on another panel. So just let me know in the comments, and yeah, let me know what you thought and what your thoughts are on these products, which one you would be more inclined to use, and if you've already used one before, how it's performed for you. With all that said, that's probably been a very long video. I'm going to let it go there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.